So now onto how do we push code, securely, and how do we set up our own user to set up, the code pushes. And so I want to show you this because I think it's really important to understand it and it's key to the AWS exam. So let's go to the IAM console in another tab right here. And so in an IAM console, there is something we may have missed in the past, but we're not going to miss right now. If we click on users and click on our own user, we can see if we go to security credentials that there are many different options. The first one was the access key. And the access key was basically enabling you to access the AWS API using the CLI. And we've been setting it up and working great. But we can just scroll down a little bit, and here we see SSH keys for AWS code commits and HTTPS GET credentials for AWS code commits. And so these two we've missed, we kind of looked over, but now we're going to deal with them. So for those who are Git experts and know how to use SSH keys with AWS code commits, what you can do is upload your SSH public key here. So you would have to paste the content of your public key into the field, and then automatically you're going to be able to access code commit using SSH. So to get the SSH URL, you click on clone URL, click on SSH, and this will be your SSH clone URL. So if you are a newbie, if you just don't know what SSH keys mean for Git, just forget about it. There's a simpler way, a little bit less secure, but simpler. It's called HTTPS GET credentials. And so basically you are able to generate a username and a password, and these can be used to authenticate HTTPS connection to code commit repositories. And so we can generate up to 2 sets of credentials, so you have to be careful. So go ahead and click on generate, and this basically generates a username and a password. I will not show you the password, but basically these are your username and your password for code commits. This is the only time you can view them and download them and copy them. So just click on download credentials just so that they're saved and click on close. As you can see, these credentials, you can reset the password or make inactive if you wanted to basically rotate them. So now that we have a username and a password, how do we use them? Well, for this, I have to install Git. So Git is not something you should know for the exam. We'll just copy the commands I tell you about. But if you want to play with code commit and finish the whole tutorial, then we have to install Git on your machine. If you just care about how to authenticate, just see where it is we can specify SSH keys and HTTPS GET credentials. So to install Git, just type install Git and then your machine. So if you have Ubuntu, Windows, and Mac, but basically you'll have to install something. For me, it's install Git on Mac, and I'll just follow the instructions. So I just encourage you to do this and then follow me when you have installed Git. So now that Git is installed for me, you can make sure of it by just typing the Git command. And if you do Git ---- version, for example, it gives you the Git version. I have 292. And so by just doing Git, if you have Git version, you're good to go with this tutorial. If not, you should just see how to basically install Git, such as you get the Git command on your platform. So next, what we have to do is go back to code commit, and we want to get the clone URL. And for this, we'll choose the HTTPS clone URL. So this is the whole URL. It gets copied automatically, but I'll just copy it just in case. And then I'll type git clone and then the whole URL right here. Press enter. And then you get asked for your username and you will get asked for your password. So let me just go ahead and enter this. Here's my username and my password. Press enter. And then when you're ready, it's going to start to count objects remotely and checking the connectivity, and it's done. So now we have a new folder called the Node.js app folder. So I'll go in it. And then because I have a terminal that's integrated with Git, it tells me that I am on master. If I do ls, I can see the index.html file that we've had from before. So this is quite awesome because now we have the index.html file and we can start adding files as we go along later down in this course using the git commands. But this is proof that we just established a Git connectivity between our computer and the Git repository in AWS code commit using the HTTPS credentials we set up in IAM. So now just to show you how things work with Git, I'm just going to copy a few files in this directory, and then we're going to commit these files straight into our repository. So I'll just copy file from my Node.js Blue app, and I'll copy all of them into here. So this is just a command, such as now if we do look at what's in our directory, we can see that there is the app.js, cron.yaml, index.html, and package.json file. So all these files have been copied from my previous directory into this current directory. And so now if you do git status, you get a message from Git saying, hey, it looks like you have a few files that have been added right here in your repository and they're untracked. So for adding them, we do git add, and then we'll just do dot to add the files in this directory. So now if you do git status again, we can see that these files have been added, and they're new files. So now we do a commit message saying added missing files to repository, and you can commit whatever you want really. So now all these files have been added into it, and now we see my master is green. And then finally what I have to do is git push to push my changes into code commit. So now as you can see, the commit has been pushed to code commit, and we should be all right. Now let's go and check code commit. So here I'm just going to refresh my page, and now we can see that we have 4 files now in my code branch. So the index.html was from before, and now we have added app.js, cron.yaml, and package.json into our code repository, and that's great. So we were able to basically integrate our git command line to the AWS code commit repository, and that's all we wanted to prove. Obviously, we could have added these files using the add file button, and you could modify these files straight from the repository, right here from the editor. But I just wanted to show you how Git integration worked and how security worked, because if you are a big Git user, you probably have this question on your mind. So yeah, that's it for all the integration and the security part with code commits. I hope that was helpful, and I will see you in the next lecture.